Welcome to Fresh Thinking School of Brain Science. What are the brain hidden biases? The brain's hidden bias refers to the unconscious and automatic mental processes that shape our perceptions, judgments, and decisions without conscious awareness. These biases are deeply ingrained in our neural pathways and are formed through biological predispositions, personal experiences, and societal influences. This particular masterclass, I will answer the following three key questions. How do hidden biases in the brain affect decision making processes? And what are the potential consequences of these biases in various real world scenarios? What are the neurological mechanisms underlying hidden biases? And how can understanding these mechanisms help develop strategies to mitigate their adverse effects? What are the ethical implications of hidden biases in fields such as artificial intelligence and machine learning? And how can we ensure fairness and equity in these technologies? These biases manifest in various forms, such as confirmation bias, favoring information that aligns with our existing beliefs; implicit association bias, unconsciously associating certain groups with stereotypes; and in-group bias, favoring individuals who belong to our social groups. These biases can lead to unintended consequences, perpetuating stereotypes, inequalities, and injustices. Understanding the brain's hidden biases is crucial for personal growth and societal progress. By recognizing these unconscious influences, we can actively challenge our assumptions, question our beliefs, and make more conscious, informed decisions aligned with our values and goals. Through self awareness and intentional effort, we can mitigate the negative impact of biases and strive towards a more equitable and inclusive society. The human brain, a marvel of evolution, is a labyrinth of intricate neural networks orchestrating our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Yet, beneath the surface of conscious awareness lies a hidden realm of biases that subtly shape our perceptions, judgments, and choices. These unconscious influences, often called implicit biases, operate literally silently, shaping our interactions with the world around us and impacting our decisions in ways we may not even realize. This essay delves into the brain's hidden biases, unraveling the complex interplay of psychological, sociological, social, and evolutionary factors contributing to their formation and perpetuation. By understanding these biases, we gain insights into the underlying mechanisms that drive our behaviors and decisions, empowering us to make more conscious, informed choices. Through our exploration, we will uncover the 7 pillars of the brain's hidden biases, examine how they manifest in our everyday lives, and explore the potential consequences of their unchecked influence. We aim to illuminate the unconscious forces that shape our reality, offering a path towards greater self-awareness and fostering a more equitable and inclusive society. There are 7 pillars of the brain's hidden bias. The first pillar of the brain's hidden bias is confirmation bias. The human mind often operates with a predisposition towards information that aligns with our pre-existing views, known as confirmation bias. This inherent tendency leads us to actively seek and prioritize evidence supporting our beliefs while conveniently overlooking or dismissing the information that challenges or contradicts them. Confirmation bias acts as a filter, shaping our perception of reality by selectively highlighting information that reinforces our existing worldview. This can manifest in various ways, such as actively seeking out news sources or opinions that align with our views, interpreting ambiguous information to support our beliefs, and remembering details that confirm our preconceived notions while forgetting those that don't. This cognitive shortcut, while seemingly efficient, can have significant consequences. It can lead us to cling to false or inaccurate beliefs, hinder our ability to learn and grow, and contribute to polarization and conflict. By recognizing and understanding confirmation bias, we can take steps to mitigate its effect, such as actively seeking out diverse perspectives, critically evaluating information, and being open to changing our minds. Implicit association bias. Implicit bias is the automatic and unintentional associations we form between specific social groups and stereotypes, deeply ingrained in our subconscious. These associations influence our perceptions, judgments, and behaviors without conscious awareness. These hidden beliefs and biases operate as mental shortcuts, rapidly categorizing individuals based on their perceived group membership. For example, we might unconsciously associate certain races with specific traits, professions, or genders with particular roles or behaviors, often rooted in societal norms and cultural conditioning. These associations can lead to automatic judgments and discriminatory actions. Implicit bias can manifest subtly, such as nonverbal cues, microaggressions, or seemingly harmless jokes. However, its impact can be profound, perpetuating stereotypes, limiting opportunities, and hindering genuine connections between individuals. Recognizing and addressing implicit bias is crucial for creating a more equitable and inclusive society. By becoming aware of these unconscious associations, we can actively challenge them, seeking diverse perspectives and consciously working to overcome our biases. Through education, self-reflection, and intentional effort, we can mitigate the influence of implicit bias and foster a more just and equitable world. In-group bias. In-group bias describes the natural human tendency to favor those we perceive as part of our social circles, while harboring prejudice or negativity towards individuals outside these groups. This bias is deeply ingrained in our social psychology and stems from our innate desire to belong and identify with a group. We view members of our in-group as more trustworthy, competent, and likable, often attributing positive qualities to them based solely on shared group membership. Conversely, we may view out-group members with suspicion, distrust, and even hostility, often assigning negative attributes to them without sufficient evidence. This bias can manifest in various ways, from subtle preferences in social interactions to overt hiring or resource allocation discrimination. It can lead to a lack of understanding and empathy between groups, hindering collaboration and fueling conflict. Although in-group bias may be a natural human inclination, recognizing and mitigating its effect is crucial for building a more inclusive and equitable society. By consciously challenging our assumptions and biases, seeking out diverse perspectives, and actively working to build bridges between groups, we can overcome the limitations of in-group bias and foster greater understanding and cooperation. Halo effect. The halo effect is a cognitive bias that occurs when we allow a single positive trait or characteristic of a person to influence our overall perception of them disproportionately. This initial favorable impression creates a halo around the individual, leading us to make inflated judgments about their other qualities, even if there is no evidence to support those assumptions. For instance, if we perceive someone as attractive, we might unconsciously assume they are also intelligent, kind, or successful, even if we have no information about those traits. This bias can also extend to confidence, charisma, or social standing. The halo effect can have significant consequences. It can lead us to make biased judgments about people, potentially affecting our decisions in hiring, promotions, or even personal relationships. It can also lead to unfair advantages for those who possess the hallowed trait, while those who don't may be disadvantaged. By recognizing the halo effect and consciously questioning our assumptions, we can strive for more objective and accurate assessments of others. This involves actively seeking information about a person's qualities and abilities rather than relying on a single positive impression to form our judgment. Horn's effect. The Horn's effect, the antithesis of the halo effect, is a cognitive bias that occurs when a single negative trait or characteristic of a person disproportionately influences our overall perception of them. This initial unfavorable impression creates a metaphorical horn around the individual, leading us to make negative assumptions about their other qualities, even without concrete evidence to support those beliefs. For instance, if we perceive someone as unkept or lacking in social graces, we might unconsciously assume they are incompetent, untrustworthy, or unintelligent. This bias can also extend to other characteristics, such as persons' perceived clothing choices or profession. The Horn's effect can have detrimental consequences, leading to biased judgments, unfair treatment, and missed opportunities for individuals unfairly stigmatized due to a single perceived flaw. It can perpetuate stereotypes and hinder our ability to see the full complexity and potential of others. By recognizing the Horn's effect and consciously challenging our assumptions, we can strive for a more balanced and fair assessment of individuals. This involves actively seeking information about persons' abilities rather than allowing a negative impression to cloud our judgment. Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias is a cognitive phenomenon in which individuals place undue emphasis on the initial piece of information they encounter when making decisions, even if that information is irrelevant or misleading. The first piece of information acts as an anchor, establishing a reference point to which subsequent judgments and decisions are tethered. This bias can manifest in various scenarios, such as negotiating a salary, estimating the value of a product, or forming an opinion about a person. For example, suppose the first price for a car is exceptionally high. In that case, we may perceive subsequent lower prices as more reasonable than they are, even if they are still inflated. Anchoring bias can lead to suboptimal decision making, preventing us from fully considering all available information and adjusting our judgments accordingly. It can also make us vulnerable to manipulation, as those who control the initial information can influence our subsequent perceptions and choices. To mitigate the effects of anchoring bias, it is essential to be aware of its existence and actively seek out diverse sources of information. We should critically evaluate the relevance and accuracy of the initial information we encounter and be willing to adjust our judgments as we gather more data. We can make more informed, objective decisions by consciously broadening our perspective and considering multiple viewpoints. Availability bias. The availability heuristic is a cognitive bias that leads us to overestimate the probability of events based on how easily examples or instances of those events come to mind. This mental shortcut often relies on recent or vivid experiences, making those events seem more frequent or probable than they are. For example, we recently watched a news report about a plane crash. In that case, we might overestimate the likelihood of such events occurring, even though statistically flying is a very safe mode of transportation. Similarly, if we know someone who recently won the lottery, we might overestimate our chances of winning despite the astronomical odds. This bias can have significant consequences, leading us to make irrational decisions based on fear, anxiety, or excitement rather than objective data and analysis. It can also perpetuate stereotypes and misconceptions, as we may rely on easily recalled examples not representative of the broader reality. To mitigate the effects of the available heuristic, it is essential to be aware of its existence and actively seek out diverse sources of information. We should critically evaluate the information we encounter, considering the broader context and statistical probabilities rather than relying solely on easily recalled examples. We can make more informed and rational decisions by consciously broadening our perspective and considering multiple viewpoints. Our brains are incredibly complex, constantly processing information and making decisions without us even realizing it. However, lurking beneath the surface are hidden biases that can unconsciously influence our choices and judgments. These biases are formed through our experiences, upbringing, and societal norms, often outside our conscious awareness. Unconscious bias can manifest in various ways, affecting our perceptions of others, preferences, and decision-making processes. For instance, we might unknowingly favor individuals with similar characteristics or make assumptions about someone based on race, gender, or age. These biases can perpetuate stereotypes and inequalities, hindering our ability to make fair and objective decisions. Understanding and addressing our unconscious bias is crucial for personal growth and creating a more equitable society. By becoming aware of these hidden influences, we can actively challenge them and strive for greater fairness and inclusivity in our interactions and decision making. This involves seeking diverse perspectives, questioning our assumptions, and overcoming biases. While it is impossible to eliminate unconscious biases, recognizing their existence and actively working to mitigate their impact is a significant step towards fostering a more just and equitable world. By acknowledging the brain's hidden biases, we can make more conscious and informed decisions, ultimately leading to a more inclusive and harmonious society. This is Dr. Masasekani Misha Kosa, Director of Fresh Thinking, School of Brain Science. Really appreciate you coming around, and make sure that you subscribe. And we have the very best masterclasses in the world, and we are ready to partner with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.